Alright, what's up everyone? Cool, so I figured I'd do a little driving video today. So I'll just be driving around San Francisco and answering a few questions. Awesome, so I guess the first question is, who am I? I don't think I've answered this yet. So, my name's Greg, and I live in San Francisco. I work for like a company as a product designer, a startup here, and so I figured I'd start this channel just because kind of into cars and starting to get into drifting and stuff like that, and the kind of car culture in the Bay Area isn't that great, and I haven't found that many people that are super into it, specifically in San Francisco, the city. So just decided to make this video, connect with some people online, and just have a fun thing to do every week. So yeah, let's see, I kind of got into cars. So I guess how I got into cars, when I was 16 or 17, I bought my first car. I bought a Geo Metro. I was super into saving gas and just having that gas money, and so bought a Geo Metro here in the Bay Area, and I grew up in kind of Sacramento area, and I bought it for 800 bucks down here, and it was super bad. Paint was horrible, tons of stuff on the interior was bad, but it lasted me for a couple years, and then I ended up selling it for like $850. That car was pretty cool actually. I painted the roof with a kind of like yellow Batman logo, and then hooked up an aftermarket alarm so that it would play like the old school Batman theme, and do that. So that was pretty fun, and did like a bunch of little silly mods on that car. And then went to school, sold the car. Went to college, sold the car, and then later in college bought another Geo Metro, and this one I balled out on a little bit more and got like a $2,000 Geo Metro, which was the most expensive Geo Metro I could find. And it was very nice. The paint was pretty good. The interior was super nice, lower mileage, and drove that for a while. And then met a friend who was kind of more into cars. He had like a Nissan 240, he had a Z, he had a G35 and stuff. And so him and a couple of his friends were into modding cars, and so with that I started doing a bunch of mods on the Geo Metro. If you don't know about the Geo Metro, it's like a 3-cylinder engine, has like 50 horsepower, and is super underpowered, but it gets around 50 miles a gallon, and it's not hybrid or anything. So I ended up installing like aftermarket tachometer with like a shift light and like glowing blue neon, and changed out the LEDs behind the dash, put in like an aftermarket muffler, like an eBay muffler. It sounded horrible, basically sounded like a Harley Davidson. And did a couple things like that, blue neon lights under the wheel wells, had like aftermarket shift knob and stuff. And so I always had a ton of fun kind of working on that car. And right before that car I was really into kind of like classic 70s mopeds. So I'd work on those, and those are just like a 2-stroke engine, and basically would mod those a ton. Would do like, you know, aftermarket exhausts, which would help out with like power a bunch. Would get new kits. It's a new cylinder and piston for them, and that would help out with power, new clutch and stuff. So I like went all out on the mopeds. At one time had like 3 of them, and then kind of got out of that game because like my last one was stolen here in San Francisco. I just locked it up onto a light post, and I locked it up poorly. But so that's kind of how I got into doing like mechanics stuff. And now I got the 240, so super excited about that. This car definitely has a lot more power than the Geo Metros did, so I'm excited to get into drifting with that. And I kind of started just getting into drifting because basically I watched like Initial D and a couple other car things, and was super into that. Originally I was looking for an 8.6, and like a couple good ones would pop up, but ultimately it's super hard to find 8.6s, and like parts are very scarce. One thing that's awesome about 240s that I've found after I bought it is that like I can just go to any parts store and ask them if they have like whatever clutch slave cylinder, and they just have it on stock right away, and it's super cheap, like 12 bucks. So that's like awesome. Whereas if I had an 8.6, it'd be a huge pain, and the car is just way older, and you know, everyone says it drives awesome and everything. everything, but it's nice being able to have the parts availability. Yeah, and so yeah, made this channel, thought it would be a fun thing, and thought it would be kind of interesting to show how it is, what it's like being a car fan in a big city. San Francisco, there's like very little places to work on your car. So I used to park my, I had a Geo Metro here for a while, and then my girlfriend has a car and we'd park just on the street, and street parking is a super pain, and then it's like crazy hard to do work on your car here. I have a friend who lives in the city as well, and he's done changed out his stock suspension with coilovers just on the side of the street, and he's jacking up the car on the side of the street as cars are passing him by. And I've done some work like that, changing out radios and stuff on the side, but it just looks super sketchy, and people are always looking in and being like, what is this guy doing? Is he stealing a radio or something? We used to park on the street, then I am now renting a garage, and so I made sure to rent a bigger garage. So we got a 2-car garage, and that's where I do all my work that you'll see in the videos. It's pretty expensive to rent a garage here, but it's amazing, changes your life. So I got really lucky and have a ton of room in my garage, and can actually do work. Whereas a lot of these garages, it's you will be lucky if you have a foot on either side of your car, and can get out somewhat easily. So I got really lucky with that. Price was good too, and it's not even a block away from my apartment, so that's awesome. I haven't started to go to any car meets or anything around the Bay Area. Probably gonna start doing that soon. I want to get my car looking a little better. So probably after I do a vinyl wrap, I'll start going to some car meets. But in September, I will be going to a drift event at Thunder Hill, which is above Sacramento. But there's also kind of Wednesday night drift nights at Sonoma. And because I have a full-time job or whatever, 9 to 5, those start at 3 o'clock, so it's a little hard to get to those during the week. So I don't go to those that often, but sometimes I go and watch them. Just fun to see what everyone's doing. And maybe I'll cut out of work early one day and go to a couple of those. But yeah, gonna start off on my first event in September. I think it's the 16th, so definitely look for a video then. I'll have a bunch of GoPros on the car and kind of explain what I'm learning while I'm doing it. So that should be cool. Some people have asked how I learned to drive manual. So all my cars I've owned have been manual cars. So originally I was looking to buy a manual car because it has way better gas mileage, or you can get better gas mileage. You can hypermile and stuff with it easier. So I had my friend who drove stick try and teach me with his mom in this Toyota truck, a Toyota Tacoma or something. And we kind of tried for 20 minutes, and I just could not get it down. And I was just stalling out constantly, could barely get off the line. Basically, it just wasn't giving it enough gas, and letting out the clutch way too quick. And so didn't really learn on that at all. We tried, and it was all right, cool, that's enough. And then when I went to buy my first Geo Metro, the $800 one, I basically just got in the car and had to learn on the way home. I was driving 200 or 300 miles back home in the car. First time driving stick. And you know, that's kind of how I learned. I had kind of the concepts from that one time of learning my friend's pickup truck, but did not really know it at all. So I just kind of got in the car, stalled a couple times, you know, was constantly peeling out at every stop sign, which is pretty hard to do in a Geo Metro because it has no power, and just kind of learned that way. And the first week it was just peeling out at every turn because I was afraid to stall. And there was a time, so on the way back on the 200 or 300 miles, there's a toll road where you got to stop, pay some cash, and then go. And so I stopped, pay some cash, and then as soon soon as I get out of the toll, I just stall. There's people, like a huge line of people behind me, just like sitting there waiting for me, and I'm like freaking out, and the car's not starting. I'm like freaking out, and like, I don't know, I didn't have the clutch in or something, so I'm twisting the key, it's not starting, and it's just craziness. But I ended up getting it started and going. It's just super embarrassing, but that's kind of how I did it, like trial by fire. It worked out all right, and you know, can drive fine now. I went to school in San Jose, and they seem to have kind of like more of a tuner culture down there. I think, like, now that I've learned more, I think it was basically a lot of ricers. But I don't know, that's cool too. Just anybody modding their car is fun. So I used to see a lot more modified cars down there. In San Francisco, it's like everyone, like not very many people have modified cars in the actual city, just because it's hard to find parking and work on it. Yeah, one bad thing about San Francisco is the roads. Is like there's so many potholes and everything, and when you have coilovers like I do, it's just ridiculous. Driving around, so bumpy everywhere you go. Really need to get on that. Yeah, but if you guys have any comments or suggestions or questions or anything, feel free to leave me a comment, or if there's anything you want to see me do, leave me a comment. I'm always open to ideas. And yeah, I think in the next upcoming weeks, I'm going to try and fix the door hinges, which I told you about. I think I thought of like a fix that would just use like soda can metal. Basically, used to do this with mopeds, but you can use like a soda can, cut it up, and use kind of like a piece of the metal and slide it in on mopeds. It's like slide it on the brakes, the brake calipers, and they hold on to the handlebar. Just gives it a little bit more thickness, and then acts as kind of like almost like a sandpaper or a grip for it, so that it like grabs onto the handlebar and is super sturdy. But I'm thinking of trying the same thing and putting it on the bottom parts of the hinges. So basically my door is sagging too much right now. So I'm gonna try and put the soda can metal on the bottom parts of the hinges, so that I'll lift it up a little bit, and hopefully line up the door exactly where the kind of like metal pole thing is that it grabs onto. So if you try it before me, let me know how it goes. But I'm thinking that'll help out with it, like just boost up the bottom of the hinge and lift the door up a little, instead of having to get all new hinges. So I'm gonna try that first, and then figure out if I need to just buy new hinges. It's tough though, because I don't know, when I'm looking on eBay and stuff, they have used hinges, and I can't guarantee that those are gonna be any better than mine. So I'm gonna try that first. Then I'm also gonna do kind of like headlight restoration video. I tried to do that last week, and I realized that my headlights kind of have this clear plastic film on the headlights that I didn't take off before I did the buffing and everything, so it ended up just making it like sanding down the sticker a little bit, and it's not as clear now. So I'm gonna take off that clear plastic film and see how it looks, and then do the headlight restoration on the actual kind of glass of it, and that should be a lot better. So just a noob mistake, but you know, you learn. And I'd love to see a bunch of your channels too, so if you have your own YouTube channel or whatever, post a comment down below and I'd love to check it out. I don't know, if you want feedback, let me know. Do that, give you some feedback on your videos, or not. Just post it up to get the word out. I'll subscribe to you and stuff. It's cool seeing what everyone else is making. So one tip I learned when living in San Francisco and driving stick is you can pull up your e-brake and keep the button in. If you got a drift button, that makes it easier, but just pull up on the e-brake and basically rest on your brakes and put your stuff in first gear, and then kind of launch off of that so that you don't roll backwards. Basically saves you a bunch from rolling backwards into the car behind you on like a massive hill, and you not having to like punch it just to get past the hill. A little like pro tip of driving stick in San Francisco. So yeah, if there's anything in San Francisco you'd like to see, let me know. I'll probably end up taking pictures up on Twin Peaks sometime, or you know, drive down Lombard Street. I think I posted a video of going across Golden Gate Bridge before in the credits kind of area of the video. But if there's anything in particular you want to see, let me know. I'll drive around and get some shots for you. Alright, so that's about it, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. Again, if you have any questions or want to throw down your YouTube videos in the comments, I'd love to see them. So yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. I'll have another video next week on me doing something on the car. So thanks for watching. See ya.